thrown against the car, handcuffed, and that's what happened last night.
The police kicked in the door, shot him twice in the chest, and he died.
Before you knew it, we had 500 families. We had over 100 volunteers calling us. We were on the phone constantly.
And I can't get it. And I got one police department telling me they don't know who's in charge. I got another police department here. Everybody's got a gun and nobody knows who's in charge. Did anybody figure out who's in charge yet? Is there anybody in charge here? Any police officer in charge? Are you in charge? I can't find anybody in charge. That's the problem.
Welcome to NJR Live, everybody. How are you?
He's doing okay.
What's up, brother? Really quickly, before we get into it a little bit, I just want to let people know that they can contribute. www.njrevolutionradio.com. The reason why things are so messed up this week, our writer Leah is off. So I screwed up the graphic and all that stuff. But, everybody gets some time off and she works really, really hard on the show. Your contributions go to help our staff, pay for the hosting services and all that stuff. So please, share and like us out there. And I'll talk to you more about the free gift you'll get if you join our editorial board at the break before we get into Daryle Lamont.
I like free
right now. I'm going to give it over to my comment.
You said a free
you did
gift.
all. Well, you have to give me. This is capitalism, and when you do like promotions like that, it's not. Well, it's not capitalism. It's fundraising. But you're gonna give me money, and then I'm gonna send you the gift. So it's not really free. It's. But it is a gift. I mean, it's heartfelt, and it's. I'm gonna give it away. All right, so it's a light ring. It's you'll get an 8-inch USB charging light ring. I was gonna give it away at the break anyway, but
that's okay.
You want to know? It's like it's like I get my kids something nice for Christmas. I always want to give it to them.
It's a nice gift, and hey, I mean, it helps us all look good. I mean, what the world has become, and if you're one of those people that's lucky enough to not have to go back, to work, the office, will help you out. Bring out those cheekbones or whatever it is you have out there that makes you good on camera.
I know the importance of, being able to communicate effectively, and that means good lighting, man. That means good lighting. So, it's hopefully the people that join up with us and learn media can go on to do their own media projects and creations. That's kind of what I'm trying to gear this thing towards, is grassroots activists that want to learn how to use media. And so I give you a free lesson here without joining our editorial board.
Hey,
lighting works. Lighting's important.
Yeah. I mean, we do New Revolution Radio is more than just a media company. We try to be education, and if you need help with production, Brian's your guy. Don't forget to reach out. I mean, you do that. You could donate. We got services that we could offer. Don't forget.
Yeah, man. I love helping new activists. I love helping new activists, old activists, doesn't really matter. It's it's what I can do living out here in the middle of the woods, farming and stuff nowadays. It's kind of forced me into that digital world, but it's something I was doing anyway as a stay-at-home dad and stuff. I certainly hope to get back in the streets more that COVID's over. I mean, I'm not done stomping around and pissing off powerful people, that's for sure. But, I think we all were shut in. So learning media, I think, was one of those things that COVID kind of, I'm not saying there was an upside to it or whatever, but it was one of those things in our world, maybe advanced a few steps in had it not happened,
Definitely. A lot of people became more friendly. Like, I mean, stories, there were professors who had never even used email before, who had to learn video conferencing. So this is, it's kind of like the great leap forward for everyone.
I met politicians like that.
But
So I did title the show Peru. So I guess we should get started with talking about Peru. When I think about Peru, and in the pre-show when you were we were talking about how we were going to go about this, I was reminded of the Rage Against the Machine song. So Peru is not unfamiliar with revolutionary activity and a pretty violent revolutionary activity. What's going on right now should make the rest of the world nervous, particularly those of us who are walkable to these countries. But I haven't heard a lot about it in the mainstream media. Democracy Now! Did a report, was really good. And, there's a lot of lefty media out there, I would say, on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard a lot on talk shows. I've seen nothing in cable news. I've seen nothing on regular news. But maybe we should start off with talking about Peru's past and why revolutionaries in this country might be wanting to pay attention to what's going on over there.
I think, well, first of all, I said Rage Against the Machine. The video is Bomb Track. It's an awesome song. Check out the video for it. But in the video, it's kind of like also like a little commercial organization called the Shining Path or Sendero Luminoso. So they were famous was because there were a number of revolutionary movements, communist movements, revolutionary organizations in Latin America. I mean, we can go to the list. The Shining Path of Peru was specifically Maoist, and it was led by a guy by the name of Abimael Guzman. He was a philosophy professor. I don't remember what school, but basically, in a nutshell, he ended up hiring a bunch of communist, faculty, and he put together minor revolutionary army and then went into the hills. And I think they ended up taking about a third of Peruvian territory. Interestingly, they were able to cut the power in Lima at one point so that when the people looked up in the hills, they had burned a hammer and sickle. I'm doing like a hammer and sickle. They burned a hammer and sickle into the mountain. But interestingly, I mean, if you, I have a graphic here that I could show really quick. If you are, following right-wing, left-wing activity, if you follow left politics, you might have seen this guy Guzman, this guy Gonzalo. He really saw himself as like this great Marxist-Leninist leader. He ended up getting arrested. I think he might still be alive, old man. But I mean, so that's the past of Peru. The president at that time of Peru is a guy by the name of Alberto Fujimori. We've talked about him on the past on this show. And to address a coup in Peru, which what rhymes, is thankfully I'm thinking a coup had been avoided in Peru. What happened was the daughter of the aforementioned former dictator, former president Alberto Fujimori, her name is Keiko Fujimori. Now she has lost the presidential election in Peru by 44,000 votes to a guy by the name of Pedro Castillo. Now, because she's a far right politician, she's the daughter of a butcher. She is very much in the vein now. Donald Trump has set like the blueprint. She is charging Castillo, the guy who, the former teacher who lead the election. She was charging him with corruption, charging them with stealing votes. Thankfully, it's actually come out in the past couple of days that there are powerful interests in Peru who are tired of her kind of dragging out the election. Or the election results, they want her to concede, and they basically said enough is enough already. Pedro Castillo, he has vowed that Peru has a national bank. He's vowed to keep the leader of their own national bank. He's not really, what we would call a lefty, on issues like marriage equality. Perfect, right? He's a saint. He's a worker. He's a former teacher, and he's not the daughter of a tyrant. So I would say, thankfully, a potential coup in Peru has been avoided. Keiko Fujimori does have support from some people in the city. Your interest in Peru, retired military personnel. She does have support. She has a lot of support. Even the United States State Department has come out and said that the election was an example of democracy. So we're good, Peru. Thanks.
Come on, camera. I'm looking at him now. There he is. Let's add Daryle Lamont Jenkins to the stream.
Hey, what's going on?
How we doing, Daryle? Looking good. So before we get started, Daryle, I congratulate you on the 21st anniversary of the One People's Project.
Yeah, hey, thank you. we're going to be talking a little bit more about that on next week's IDAVOX report. It'll be the day after. Wait a minute, am I right on that? Yeah, it'll be the day after the 4th, because we're coming back. IDAVOX report's coming back on the 5th, I believe. And I'll have some video from that great day when we started and everything, news programs and stuff like that. It's been a crazy 21 years. We are now legal to drink.
All right.
And we're going to make the most of it. I'll have my wine here, or champagne or something like that.
There you go.
I don't know if the FCC will allow us to drink on live stream, but who cares?
I'm pretty sure we can get away with it.
Cool. But yeah,
We are drinking water.
it's been crazy. I mean, it's funny because it's been like we have been doing this. Well, I've been doing it since 86, 87. But One People's Project only came about in 2000, and a lot of people, they had an idea that I existed. I mean, the Fash knew I existed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're waiting for you.
And but it wasn't until I was on Rachel Maddow's show that everybody said, "Oh shit, what's going on here? What's he got to offer?" And then when Charlottesville happened, okay, I'm a big dude now. So
Yeah, I mean, well, we love it. Thanks again for coming out tonight, Daryle.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been paying attention to what it is we're doing now, and I'm just basically taking advantage of every single bit of it. Just by trying to get the word out about what's going on out there, who's doing what, and that's the most important thing. I mean, it's not about whether I have a celebrity status or anything like that. It's just about, you're listening to me? Okay, fine. I got something to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks again for coming out. There was a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but just to like kick back and check. Donald Rumsfeld passed away today at 88 years old. So yeah, I mean, war criminal.
88.
80. I mean, he was 88, so he lived a long life. He did a lot of damage. There's a lot of blood on the guy's hands. I mean, the Iraq War. Yeah, I mean, it's adios, Donald Rumsfeld. Goodbye.
It's a day of celebration. We know it was too long, but when you wait for something, it's that much sweeter than when it happens. And
yeah, but when
he's down there in hell with Bob Grant and George Washington and all the founding fathers, and good riddance.
Yeah, but sadly, he's not down there with Henry Kissinger yet. He just had his 98th birthday on the 27th.
That guy can't die. He's
Jesus Christ.
I think it's important that we all live longer than him, all live to see Kissinger die. I mean, It's sad enough that he's going to die getting away with his crimes, but at least he'll be dead. I actually saw him in Penn Station.
Really?
I was walking around. I was basically trying to get on a train, and I saw him getting off of a train. So I was like, Henry Kissinger.
Yeah, we were looking forward to it. Can we get a death pool going? We should really have a death pool. We really should. Editorial board members can get on a death pool maybe or something. That would be nice. Nah,
I can't do that because of my luck. I won't be here to see the end of that death pool.
You will be. No, we're gonna dance on all their fucking graves, man. It's a good. I don't know that I would equate. Donald Rumsfeld was a propagandist. He wasn't that great at his job. I think that the right wing just got that. Our country got that stupid that a guy who was that kind of clownish and exaggerated in his nonsense he was one of these showmen. He was like a pre-Trump Trump. He wasn't as off the wall, as over the top, but he did get away with saying a lot of dumb shit, and the media didn't question it, and everybody marched off to war with this guy. I don't see him as a major, like, I don't see him as Kissinger. I don't see him as, this brains behind a giant war machine. I see him as just kind of a patsy who was doing his job as a propagandist,
There are a few politicians today you could see in the same vein as a Henry Kissinger, because after Ronald Reagan became president, it became less about the substance and more about the symbolism, more about the optics. So what you see right now, basically in the halls of Congress and in the White House, are snake oil salesmen. That's all they do is try to look good. And that's the problem that we have today. The people that they're fighting, especially on the Democrat side, are the folks that are trying to basically work. They're trying to do some work out there, and work kills their brand. So they're fighting us on it. I mean, the guy who the mayor of Buffalo, New York, is now embarking. He lost to a socialist candidate. I cannot recall her name, and I apologize.
I'll look it up right now.
But he is now going to embark on a write-in candidacy, a write-in campaign to try to get him to try to keep his job as mayor. I think he's had that job for maybe 14, 16 years.
Yeah, it's been a couple terms.
Yeah, so but he lost to a socialist, and that's just too much for everybody. And you know it's really bad when you got some clown like Carl Palladino, and if you don't remember that name,
no, who's Carl Palladino?
Carl Palladino was we first heard of him as trying to run against Cuomo. And he was just too far right wing to be ridiculous. I mean, even the right wing is ridiculous enough, but he just went beyond the pale. I mean, he ended up on the school board of Buffalo, and he was so bad and so downright racist, they pretty much expelled him. This was after he ran for governor, and now he's supporting this mayor of Buffalo. And Mayor Buffalo says, "No, don't do that to me."
Yeah,
it says, oh, it's too late. I mean, if he's kissing your behind, you're a bad guy. So that's so. And then there's the stuff that Jim Clyburn put out, where now he's going to now we have Nina Turner, looking like she's going to go to Congress in August or September. I don't know when they vote in her district. So he decides to chime in on that campaign, endorsing her primary candidate, her primary opponent. So it's just like the establishment is trying.
It's the establishment.
The establishment is trying to maintain. As a matter of fact, it was Hakeem Jeffries was on TV maybe yesterday talking about how he is part of an effort to try to make sure that the established, and for lack of a better term, the established members of Congress, the incumbents, are not losing in the primaries.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, Hillary Clinton came out and endorsed Turner's opponent. And this is like kind of, I want to use this as a lead into why I wanted to chat with you tonight, Daryle. If I could take a moment to set this up. I was watching the online left, I just want to say, it's not the real left in this country. We're seeing a lot of bickering and whatnot. And I watched a couple of debates, one from a year ago, one from, I think it was yesterday, between Glenn Greenwald and Nathan Robinson. He lived on the baby adrenochrome. That's what they say about the QAnon stuff. But, Glenn Greenwald gets criticized.
Thank you, Justin O'Hay, for your comments on the stream.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Shout out to Justin. Justin, by the way, go back and watch last panel. We had Justin on the panel. He did a great job. Shout out to everybody that came out to the Olive Press. It was a fun time. Hopefully we get more people. Just shout out to the Olive Press. Eating great food. I keep wanting to call it kebab. I don't remember what the actual name was for it, but it was like a kebab. It was delicious. The fries were delicious. But in a nutshell, I want to get to is we're seeing kind of like this reaching out in the online left. These attempts, again, we saw it with Jimmy Dore. We've addressed that on the IDAVOX report. These attempts by people on the so-called left to work with the right, to work with the far right. Right? We see it does work in the halls of Congress. We see it doesn't work when the presidents. I'm seeing now this weird downplaying of January 6th, where they're saying it wasn't a coup, and just because they didn't succeed, just because they weren't that bright, doesn't mean it wasn't an attempted coup. I'm very terrified what would have happened for the elected politicians that were there on January 6th. But I'm of the opinion, Daryle, that there's this, returning. We got to reach to the right, the far right, because they're populist. I'm of the opinion that these people bring nothing to the table, right? We cannot separate the economic and social. These people have horrifying tendencies. We saw recently there was a failed Medicare for All rally where a white supremacist and Nazi was asked to come speak. Right? This people aren't doing their research, Daryle. Can you talk about the danger of that?
Well, see, here's the first thing. First and foremost, you don't work with fascists. You don't work with Nazis. There is no vote on that. There is no debate. If you are working with them, you are them. And we're going to fight you just as hard as we're fighting them.
There it is.
We are not going to discuss it. You can sit there and throw a temper tantrum on Twitter all you want. But the fact of the matter is, if I see you near me, I'm calling you out as a bad person, a bad and dangerous person. It's real. This is real. The thing that you're talking about, what happened is that there's this thing called Medicare for All rally that's supposed to be taking place on July 24th. And it's supposed to be an effort that's supposed to be taking place around the country in various spots of the country. And yes, there are some people on the left that are going to be a part of this or say they want to be a part of this. The problem with that is that now the rally is being seen, the organizing behind it is being seen as rather dubious. First, we come across Matthew Heimbach, who in the past has said he's renounced his Nazism and no one believes him in the first place. But then we see him being touted on the Twitter account of the Medicare for All rally website as being the one that's going to be in the forefront of the one in Muncie, Indiana. Now, I'm sorry. Heimbach has been out there enough for people to recognize him on sight. We know who he is. I always put him I make him in particular, his group was responsible for initiating the violence in Charlottesville. I will say that because that's what I saw. His group, the Traditionalist Workers Party, and the umbrella organization, the National.
That name in itself is a co-opting of a left-wing term, right?
Exactly. And let's stay on that thing because that's what they are about. So, Heimbach shows up on some flyers and we're supposed to say, hey, sure. No, that's not going to happen. People are going to say, no, we can't work with this dude. So they put out a release. So the organizers, the people who, at least at very least, the people who put together that Twitter account, who run that Twitter account, basically put out a thing saying, hey, look, we're not associating with anybody in Muncie, Indiana. We're not associating with this guy. And there was just some haphazard crapola going on back and forth with them. But it didn't stop there. The guy, and this started blowing up all over the place too. The guy in Detroit, the guy who's running things, the Medicare for All rally in Detroit, is this weird character by the name of Rome Bethia.
Oh God, they always have these names.
And basically, and I say basically a lot, I'm sorry. But so it's bad enough that we see the Matthew Heimbach thing. The next day we see that Detroit has Rome Bethia up there. He goes on Twitter. He goes by the name Unholy Rome.
Of course.
Now, he's supposed to be a leftist or whatever. I'm not going to be too sure about that because in 2016, he posted an article. He posted a video basically saying that there is no such thing as gay women. Deep down inside, you need dick to survive. And if you're out there and you say you're gay, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. That's the guy running things in Detroit.
Oh, God.
So we're up there going, okay, now what the hell is going on here? And if that wasn't bad enough, let me see if I can find this just to make sure that I got this right. And people are trying to say that he apologized.
Well, let me ask you, Daryle, while you're looking for that, right?
Sure.
This is the frustration for me because, again, I say these people offer nothing in terms of like economic populism. in Europe, there's talk about trade protection. Steve Bannon's talking about here in the United States. He even talked about some kind of health care. Again, the problem is a Trojan horse, right? So if they're talking about health care, it's also coupled with rampant xenophobia, sexism, and so on. So now you've had conversations with these people, Dad. Like, what are they bringing to the table in terms of ideas?
Nothing that helps us, nothing that does anything for us. And by us, I mean society in general. They're only, and we have spoken about this before. Their only mission is to just simply co-opt and try to use it to advance the fascism that they're about. And my feeling about it is that that's what we have to recognize. They do this all the time. It turns out, I believe somebody, I think the Medicare for All in Ohio, the rally down there, is being run by one of the Boogaloo Boys, the Boogaloo Boy who was on Jimmy Dore's show. I want to check and make sure of that because because that's what I'm looking for here, and I just want to make sure I got that information right.
Yeah. So let me add this. It illustrates because we watched 4 years of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump had billions of dollars in taxes. Wealthy. Like, if the far right had kind of economic populism, where was their criticism of that? Right. So like there's this obsession with wanting to have these conversations, so-called leftists going on these right-wing programs to criticize the Democrats. Right. It's weird. I've seen rumblings of something called the so-called Red-Brown Alliance. And I wanted to stomp on this before it grows, because whether it's Fox News, whether it's Republican Congress, whether it's the fashion, the streets, these people don't offer anything.
No, they don't. They do not. And that's the important thing about it. They're not trying to offer anything. If we pay attention to what conservatives are about in this day and age, only thing that they are concerned about is their own survival. I mean, I should point this out too. One of the things that you hear, and this was a tweet that was put out on the 28th. Somebody writes, the march is called Medicare for All, not Nazis come here. If they came here disingenuously, no, this is not somebody on our side. Yeah. If they came here disingenuously, then I won't appreciate it. If they are honestly for Medicare for all, I will tell you on that day, I will march, and I will march with anyone who does so peacefully, safely, and inclusively. Piss off on that.
Yeah, I mean, let them 20 feet behind. Let them march 20 feet behind. Like there's this obsession in this country of like wanting to reach out and bring everybody on board. We saw it with Obama. We see it with Biden. This obsession with bipartisan, like it's not something. I don't know. Like Brian every week talks about his frustrations dealing with the Democratic Party, and I don't want to downplay how frustrating the Democratic Party is. They are. These Republicans are coming in with stories of people eating kids. Like 1/3 of Republicans believe in QAnon. Have them think that Donald Trump is like the actual president of this country. They don't live in our current reality.
No, they don't. No, they don't. I mean, matter of fact, they do. I remember what I said earlier about the fact that they're snake oil salesmen. Remember that?
Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry. Let me just rephrase what I said. I think the politicians, the talking heads in the media, they're definitely grifters. They are the snake oil salesmen. But the masses of people, the people out in the internet land, the people that are victimized, right-wing media, I see them as legitimate victims. I see them as.
It's true, and that's one of the things that keeps groups like this alive, because ultimately when we are out there going at each other's throats, it is in fact worker against worker, and there are bigger powers that are trying to underscore.
This wing analysis lacks a class analysis. It's us versus them, insider versus outsider. It's never rich versus poor, right? So they're framing it through this lens, and because they don't have anything to offer in terms of policy, in terms of legislation, they have to revert to conspiracy theory. They have to revert to xenophobia. They have to revert to homophobia, transphobia, what have you. I'm thankful to Russian radio because I've been talking about this for years, and we see it, right? So I initially wanted to talk about the whole UFO thing. With surprise, there's no goddamn alien. There never was going to be. No aliens.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I wanted to before we get into aliens, because I know you can't
wouldn't have to get
talk
into
about
aliens.
We do have to get into aliens. I just wanted to say aliens, this. Look, all right.
What I've been saying in my lectures, what I've been saying in my lectures and on Revolution Radio is that the problem with conspiracy theories is at best they're a slippery slope. So if you already have a conspiratorial mindset where you don't trust the government, you don't trust science, you don't trust all these institutions, organizations, then it's easy for someone like Carlson to come along and to inspire you, to sit there and say, well, hey, yes, it's really not elites, it's Jewish elite. And this is how, I mean, I'm sure Daryl's seen, this is how white supremacist organizations, how they target children, how the teenage boys, how they target people. I mean, Tucker is a ripe market of people to grift. He's after the UFO crowd, right? There's no goddamn alien. Show me alien, show me a starship, show me like advanced equation that they solve. Sure, the aliens out there. Are they coming here and cutting up cows only to leave? No, we can see them, but we can't see them. I'm tired of hearing the goddamn UFO.
What worries me is looking at things from a historical perspective, and what was trying to be done here is really rope a guy like me in. So I feel when I saw Jimmy Dore and I heard him out a little bit, it was clear that they were appealing to people on the left who hate the government, who want to see the government to be replaced by another system. And I'm a guy I'm a communist. And Daryle, you said you're an anarchist. Now, how you get there is so important. And there's been a lot of history in revolutionary times and how much blood is spilled in revolutions, all the way from none into millions. And none is the way I would prefer, because I'm raising children on this earth and I love a lot of people, and I'd rather not see people get killed in replacing a government, because to me a government isn't worth dying for. So, I think, but the idea is to pull a guy like me who says, listen, I do want to overthrow the government peacefully, but and push us in a more violent direction. And the enablers in that system are the ones like our media who let the Iraq war kind of just happen without really reporting on it, or who have let QAnon grow to the strength of invading successfully our Capitol building without properly reporting on it. And those gatekeepers for revolutionaries like myself, who will purge revolutionaries before they purge fascists. And you don't have to look farther than a lot of European history, the German Revolution, the Second French Revolution, the First French Revolution. I mean, the Jacobins, which is always kind of funny. The Iranian, but I mean, what's always been funny to me about let me make fun of DSA real quick while I'm on this. The Jacobins were a liberal group that supported property rights and debated over whether or not they should have a monarchy, and led to Robespierre, who essentially was king of Severed Head Mountain at the end of the French Revolution. So who you partner with matters. And if we are going to continue to let media outlets like MSNBC, Fox News, and all this garbage dominate the conversation, and we are coming to a revolutionary point, it's dangerous what's going on. I want to have a revolution with smart comrades. I'm willing to work with anybody who doesn't like this government, but you have to, before I go work with you publicly, acknowledge that we need healthcare for everybody and peace and a revolution we can dance to, I believe is the expression. And that's, what I've always advocated, man. And so we can't be in such a rush to replace capitalism that we wind up with fascism. It's exactly. Not the goal. It's not the goal.
I mean, and we've discussed the fact that this is a three-way fight. I mean, the fact of the matter is we're not just fighting the state. We're fighting those that are also want to replace the state with something even worse than the state. I mean, that's basically what the fascists wanted to do. We don't live in a fascist state. We don't live in a fascist society. We live in a capitalistic society. That's capitalism is more. There ain't no leaning. That's bullshit. Because the truth of the matter is, fascism is all about your.
We got one foot in the hole on that one. We got one foot in the hole.
Fascism, you know what it is though. Fred Hampton once said, and I'm bringing up Fred Hampton because they like to use Fred Hampton, and we had this discussion last week. They like to co-opt Fred Hampton, and that pisses me off as a template. And he's talked a lot about fascism. One of the things he did say, however, is racism is a byproduct of capitalism. We can extend that to fascism being a byproduct of capitalism. Fascism is really any political ideology.
It's the last gasp it's the last gasp of people who are perceived to losing their power, right? So fascism is how people respond. But I mean, I just to piggyback on what you said, Daryle, I'm looking at it, ISIS, right? It's the same thing. It's people that can't deal with change, and rather than take one talks about class conflict, whether it's anarchist or communist or whatever, they go down right-wing path, and it leads to destruction. It leads to terrorism. There's no answer down that path. Right, it's religion, oppressed hierarchies. We know the Islamic State is notorious for rape, and fascists hate women too, right? I mean, this is how it goes. I mean, but this is the thing. It manifests in different ways, and I would say that one of the reasons fascism, we don't have to call it all fascism. The reason the far right has grown is because we live under neoliberal capitalism, and the alternative to neoliberal capitalism is what's presented as the alternative to neoliberal capitalism is the rank capitalism of the Democratic Party and of mainstream liberalism, which is not sufficient in solving, answering the questions of society, right? Like, so they're not calling into question class. Identity politics isn't used properly. The wages aren't up. Living conditions aren't really getting better. So that fuel to the far right that says, look at these lefties, look how far they've come. I mean, it's the same backlash that we allowed Reagan to become president, right? It's what passes for the left is really the Democrats, and they're half-assing it. So we see this reaction, which is the far right, which is, fascists or skinheads, or, in the place of other countries, it'll take other forms.
Yeah. And
that was my ramble.
Well, I appreciate the ramble. That's all I can say about that. I appreciate the ramble. But folks are going to have to look into this Medicare for All rally before they participate in it. We got a lot of good people that are in it, and they might have to just start pulling out because Matthew Heimbach is
they might have already put out.
So, not everybody. We got some folks in D.C. that are of note that are involved, and this is not the only area. We are talking about when you're dealing with the Julian Assange situation. We got some of the fascists rolling up in there and co-opting that as well. And unfortunately, lack of people who believe in releasing all political prisoners who are getting pulled into that direction. But we've seen that with the anti-war movement in general. So it's just simply a case of, look, people, pay attention to what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Occupy is a good example too. And I mean, this is something that I've been on for a very long time. And it's just simply a case of one of the main reasons, as you've been pointing out, that we have been slow in getting a lot of things done is that we have a lot of folks on our side that buy into the bullshit of these right-wingers that say they want to be one of us.
Yeah.
That we're all in this together.
All you have to do is ask them questions.
Pulverized with that.
Yeah. Just ask them, like, what are you about? Okay. What are your thoughts on trans people? What are your thoughts on black people? Ask them, what do you think about reparations? When you see eyes going in different directions, you got somebody, you got Ash. I mean, especially for a speaker, that's what's unfortunate. But like the scenario is, let's say this guy shows up. Let's say everybody's like, oh boy, he's just talking. What if he has a bunch of goons show up with flyers, right? And he starts handing flyers out. Well, he can't be a bad guy. He's speaking at this rally. Next thing you know, there's a white supremacist picnic at your park. And then, they're organizing, they're marching in the street. You cannot work with people. Right, Brian.
Daryle has been trying to up the image of anti-fascists, and what's disheartening to me, Daryle, and I'll quote that douchebag Congressman Josh Gottheimer from North Jersey, in an article where he talks about, yes, we have to watch, these right-wing extremists, but they always manage to throw in Antifa activists as well. And let me just send this message to any twat waffle that correlates right-wing Nazis and anti-fascists who work to stop right-wing Nazis. Look, if you're going to be stupid, don't go into the halls of power like Congress. And the problem, I think, Daryle, is that we deal with some extreme elements and some people that are considered on the fringes, but they invaded the Capitol. And we still have people, like really important fucking people in Homeland Security, in Congress, in the Senate, on the supposed in our president's cabinet, in the Supreme Court, who think that anti-fascist work is going to be equated with right-wing work. And again, if we're moving towards revolutionary times, I don't like sitting where I'm sitting right now. And I would like more people to share this if you're in Antifa. More people to get some media out there about the work that we do, and please target it at these douchebags because they don't listen to me. I curse too much. All right, I get that. But if you have interaction with these people, educate them and explain to them that peaceful journalism, outing people and doxing people that are involved in violent activity and stockpiling weapons to carry out that activity is not the fucking same goddamn thing. And I'm tired of being lumped in with racists by congressmen who shouldn't have been there in the first place.
See, here's the thing about me. Bottom line is I don't do this merely to big up the image of anti-fascists. We know who we are. My issue is making sure my mission is making sure people understand what it is they're doing when they do that, and what they are trying to do is keep you from advancing yourself. I mean, Antifa is going to be fine. One of the reasons why Antifa doesn't get on, they're able to do this so easily is because anti-fascists really don't like being on camera. They don't like.
Well, yeah, the thing they like to hide behind these names. Like they always have these names.
They have to, in many respects, because you're talking about. We're right there, right in front of the fascists that we are always complaining about. If you're complaining about Richard Spencer, we're punching him in the face. So I mean, yeah, we have to keep our heads down in many respects. Having said that, that leaves us at a disadvantage, and they've been able to take advantage of that disadvantage. And one of the reasons why I do what I do has been making sure that people know that when they go after anti-fascists, they're going after you. They're going after your principles. You do not like fascism. You do not like hate politics. You do not like the basing of human rights, So just even the fact that when we talk about CRT, they're not attacking critical race theory, but when they do try to keep history from being taught, that is what critical race theory addresses. So they know what they are doing, and it's core to know. You do, and you have to know. It's just that simple. Well, I have to split in a bit, but.
Yes, I guess we could wrap it up there. I'm going to try and do some slow stuff talking about this. This red-brown thing is really starting to freak me out. There's a lot of people out there, heads, running their mouths. But Daryle, I want to thank you for in the thick of it for 30 years, man. You really are like the trailblazer on this stuff. And there's all these so-called like online intellectuals, online leftists, a lot of nerdy white people, let's be honest, that are running their mouths talking about this, and Daryle has been in it for 30 plus. So thank you, Daryle. I'm so thankful for this video. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Like we've been calling this.
I just want to make a point to SoCal Shan. Yeah, I was actually talking about the Dems. I wasn't necessarily talking about the right. The right is going to do what it does, But I was talking about the Democrats. That's why That's why I started off with what Jim Clyburn was trying to do in Ohio, and what the mayor of Buffalo was trying to do up there to keep his job, and who is endorsing him. We got to look at it. We got to look at it like that. And the fact that we are dealing with an event that's being that's getting a lot of interest from the right. Look, people, we can fight Medicare for all without the Nazis. We have been doing that. Just keep doing that. Put together your own rallies with people that you can respect and trust, that are educated enough on the facts, as opposed to having to deal with the fact, well, he's a Nazi. Should we be marching with them?
Established community leaders.
If you have to ask that question.
Yeah. So just to piggyback, Justin made some comments. Like, this is what Right does, right? They give you a little bit of truth. This conspiracy theory. They pepper in their truth. And then everything just a bunch of BS. Shout out to SoCal Shane. Thank you for commenting. But again, like right-wing populism, it means lynchings. It's terrorizing Black communities, overthrowing local communities, attacking immigrants. This is what these people want. Put them in the door. They're going to bring something terrible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's
I'm
it.
not going to lose my friends and family because the guy gave a nice speech at the fucking rally.
Yeah,
right?
like,
That's
come on.
Don't
Don't bring these people in. But thanks for coming out, Daryle. Thanks again.
Care,
good to see you. Liking the new hair.
Hey, happy anniversary, by the way. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary,
Jack. Project. You said it was it 21 years or 25 years? How long?
21.
July
4th, 2000.
All right.
2000.
And so you can learn more. Look, you can learn more at onepeoplesproject.com or .com, right?
Yeah, well, I have .org.net too. It just goes right to .com.
There you go. And make sure you support Daryle's. I thanked you at the event at the Olive Press Eatery last week. And, we
Great
did
books.
it like a half week this week because our writer is off. So Daryle, we did a joint show, and we always do a wrap up. This is one of our features monthly on Revolution Radio. Christian comes in and co-hosts, and we do an around the world. So we're really glad that you came and shared some time with us tonight, man. It's great to have you part of the network. And one more time now, I forgot our schedule. I should write this down when you say it, or I could listen to the tape. But let our audience know again what's coming up for the IDAVOX report, because we're going to take a little time off. But you're going to have one more show. What's going on?
Well, right now, I guess we're going to have a couple more shows because we're going to be getting out of here in August. We're going to just basically take the month of August off. I don't want to take the entire summer off because Lord knows what might happen. But next week, we're going to be back, and we're going to be talking about, because we haven't gotten to it yet, Derek Chauvin, and we're going to talk about the sentencing. But we also, but the reason why we're going to be talking about it is because we're going to be dealing with a police killing out in Europe, and it's a Roma brother that was murdered by the police. So we'll be mad props, Justin. So we'll be going to we're going to be interviewing someone who is on the ground. But we're going to have, but Christian, and this, I'm doing an audible here. Christian, Brian, we just need to set up a time so that we can actually have this person, so we can interview this person.
Oh, yeah, we'll do a pre-taping. We got
to do a pre-taping because we come on at 8:00. She ain't getting on live at 2 a.m. in her time.
Oh boy, yeah.
All right. Well, listen, audience needs to contribute all these hours we're putting over here at Revolution Radio, and all the words that we got to write and the things that we got to do. We need the contributions, but we appreciate you, Daryle. You've been amazing for the network. So thanks a lot, man. Be good, Christian. What do we didn't talk enough about UFOs. I feel.
I mean, if you want to chat, I mean, look.
I do.
Go ahead.
I woke up yesterday, my butt hurt a little bit, and I'm just wondering, I didn't see any aliens.
Did you lose time? They might have gotten you. They might have gotten you.
I had a lot of edibles before I went to bed, so I would have been groggy if they'd come through.
Are magnets sticking body? Are you giving off, radio signals or anything like that? Have you developed any superpowers?
Let's end on a serious note. I read there's two government reports that I've been into the last couple weeks. So one was where they called anti-capitalist terrorists, and we could do a whole show on that. We don't have enough time, but fuck you, FBI.
Yeah, I mean, but
As
it
usual.
was always going to be that. Like, there's always going to be those people who want to equate the left with the. But again, what frustrates me is like, and I don't want to like name, but like that Glenn Greenwald guy who's like this accomplished journalist. He's not really a lefty. He considers himself a civil libertarian. It's like they're like delighting in it. They're like, oh, see, like when bad things happen to the left. Let's like
So
right wing watch. Like I'm sorry, I was ranting, but like right wing watch just got taken down, and there were people gloating about that. Now, like for YouTube to take down right wing watch, who was doing YouTube's job, that's like you rounding up all the stray dogs without collars, taking them to the dog catcher, and then he finds you because you have a dog without collars. Like they should have put right wing watch on the payroll.
So the censorship is aimless. I feel like they gave a drunk a musket and just said, "Here's shoot to the left." I mean,
but this is the problem. We need to be censoring these hate messages, anti-trans, homophobia. We need to censor that, but we need sensitive human beings to do it, right? When it's AI, when it's corporate control, this is the problem. And then again, what the right sees. The right sees corporate, corporations making these decisions, inherently authoritarian corporations making these decisions, and they're saying, "Oh, that's left." This isn't the left. This is a corporation deciding they don't want X, Y, and Z on their platform, right? But it's corporate control. Whether it's nuclear power, GMOs, or internet censorship, it's corporate control that's killing everything.
So that the other report. So the one report
I got so angry at this stuff.
Just so audience, I mean, just when you see the back end of websites, anybody that's ever worked on a website, you can see where your pings come from, and you know where you're getting hit from around the country. And there's a lot of pings on my network from Virginia, and I know where that's from. So whoever's listening in Washington D.C., you can go fuck yourself too for this stupid shit that keeps streaming out about the left. You're clearly involved in propaganda. So I thank you for helping my hits, because I do get...
Unless you're a fan.
Yeah, no, it helps my numbers, which in turn brings me more traffic, and it's good for Google rankings and things like that. So I appreciate the hits coming out of whoever the fuck in that base in Virginia that has that server there. But you can go fuck yourself for all the shit's coming out of these government reports. The other... Now, this is the problem. So I see government reports calling me a terrorist, and then I see another government report telling me there's no such thing as UFOs. And I now, as a supporter of conspiracy theory, Christian, as the yin to your yang, I now don't trust anything the government puts out. So if the government puts out a report telling me there's no UFOs, that means there's UFOs.
Okay, I mean, but like, look at the videos. The videos suck. Like it's. Look, I am skeptical of the government. Like that's the thing. But again, what the government calls them, or what the military calls them, is they don't call them UFOs, call them UAPs, unexplained aerial phenomena, right? But again, when you see video, it's always like this jet's moving really fast, and there's like some dot on your screen. It's always a dot, right? So these are aliens that are hiding from us, but we can see them. Right? Like I don't understand what the point.
Alien sightings have come way down since high definition cameras. I'm just
saying. Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the UFO sightings, I mean, we know that it's technology. Like when we think about what was it, the stealth fighter and the stealth bomber, right? There were people who were seeing those things and reporting it, but it was, top secret or above, whatever the heck the terminology is. I'm convinced a lot of the stuff is, technology that the government's working on. Some people say it's drones, but I don't know if that technology exists out there in other countries.
There are people out there, and you've seen them on YouTube, and even on the History Channel for some reason did a thing on people that sit around like Area 51 with video cameras, and
they do it. Timothy McVeigh believed in aliens. He thought that the administration was hiding the truth about governments. He had gone to Area 51 himself, right? So he was one of those people. He wanted to be a career military. The military cut him loose. He needed somebody to hate. The communists were gone. I'm going to hate the liberals. And that's really what we've seen in the past 30 years. Turn the liberals into the new enemy. They're stealing kids, and drinking babies, whatever the hell.
I mean, I want to believe. Can I put it that way, man? I want to believe there's life out there. I do.
I mean, I honestly think that it is out there. I think that there is life out there.
We'll
think
see.
aliens are
Maybe
real.
I mean, they're going to Mars and Whitey's on the moon. So we'll see what we'll see.
I think aliens are real. Dude, are they coming here and cornholing farmers? No. Like I'm sorry. Where like I heard this horrifying story. There was an MMA fighter by the name of George St. Pierre on Joe Rogan's show, and he was talking about missing time. And they're like, "Oh wow, missing time. That's crazy." No, dude, he's taking many shots to his head. Right. This is the signs of brain damage. He's like. The world champion is not being kidnapped by aliens. He has brain damage because he gets punched in the head for a living, right? I mean, it's I think aliens are real. I don't think they're coming here. Cattle mutilation, all that stuff. With all the high def cameras, I have gotten a better shot on.
Justin is chipping in on the Neil deGrasse Tyson made good point. With all the high def cameras the government has, why haven't they gotten better shot on them? And that's that's what I was saying earlier on, that like I remember like growing up, you would see grainy footage all the time, and of course there was the Roswell thing and all that, and documents came out later that are still redacted that say it was a weather balloon. It was always a weather balloon. But they
even if they're with
high def
aliens,
cameras have come out, and you think, look at the exposure of police brutality on cameras since the event of cell phones.
Police brutality,
we
no
are
Bigfoot.
we are exposing the very real racism in American justice, and I think that's that's one of the benefits of today's technology. But we have yet to get some good photographs of a farmer getting cornholed by an alien, which to me would be infinitely better to watch, than what I've been seeing from cell phone videos. Because I've played cornhole before, and maybe they would be interested in tournaments and things like that. That's what you're talking about, right?
Intergalactic cornhole. I don't know. It just look. I mean, even if alien like with the government secretly, it's like we don't see these crappy grainy videos. We don't see any of that here. So it's always the same stuff from the UFO crowd.
Everyone, I'm not doing that, Justin. I'm not even putting the comment on the stream. I'm not.
Oh God, yeah. He's not wrong though.
So he made me completely lose my train of thought there.
Look,
but
you could go on Instagram right now, and I follow them, and I grit my. I don't know why I do this to myself. There's any number of weird Instagram conspiracy sites, and I was watching one a couple days ago. It was of a mermaid, and I'm like, I can get a live feed of the Syrian civil war, but these idiots can't. Nobody has a video of this mermaid. It's always like some grainy crap. It's always the same thing. I got books here on Bigfoot and monsters and stuff because I used to love reading about that stuff as a kid. They're cool stories, but come on, like
they are. They are fun stories, and you explore them, you take them seriously because we've seen the negative effects on our society as a whole, but I think some of what we got to do is laugh at them and poke fun at them to let people know that these are ridiculous things. I mean, and every show I've ever seen, right? Any like I was talking about the History Channel. First off, shame on like the History Channel.
Oh, shame on them! Absolutely,
carrying ancient aliens. Yeah, come on, man. Do you have any
that itself? That in it is rooted in white supremacy.
The History Channel.
You hear Easter Island or the Mayans, the Egyptians. All these people needed help from aliens. How come the Romans and the Greeks didn't need help from aliens?
Right. So there's every one of those shows is the same. And I'll tell you the pattern. They'll start out with some actual history, and then they'll run into a question. They'll ask a question about history themselves. They'll just come up with a fucking stupid question like, who built the pyramids? And they'll start answering that question with a whole bunch of maybe this happened and maybe that. Listen to what they're saying.
It's all questions.
Maybe that. In other words, there's some writer who sits there and just eats mushrooms or does meth or whatever he does with his Hollywood money. And he writes a bunch of things he thinks might have happened in his weird ass fucking brain. And it's not based. And listen to it. It's crazy. And as I was saying, earlier is, the history, you call yourself the History Channel? You put this fucking garbage on and my kids catch it and think it's true at 7 or 8 years old? I got a lot of fuck yous today, by the way.
Yeah, no,
Fuck
dude, but
the
that's
History
what
Channel. Fuck the
even
History Channel
back in the
for showing
day,
it.
it used to be just like Nazi
Crazy.
Germany and Rome, and I would be happy if it's just Nazi Germany and Rome, right? I would, but like they bring these goofs with these weird books. It's all the same stuff. The dude with the big hair, Giorgio Tsoukalos, that guy didn't publish anything. He's not a scholar. He runs around in an Indiana Jones hat, like he knows something, and it's these people have built careers off this. I mean, but this again, I'm just repeating myself. This is what we get: 30 years attacking education, attacking teachers, attacking voting rights. This is the result. It's an assault on democracy, and we're witnessing 30 years of an assault on democracy. This is America. I mean, it's disheartening. it's disheartening.
Man.
But this is why we need to donate to organizations like Revolution Radio, because we need to keep reporting on this stuff, because nobody out there is going from Peru to the red ground to UFOs. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's having that conversation.
Yeah, man. Listen, thanks. I mean, that's why the work we do here is important. It needs people's support. Thanks for plugging anything before we go. Any final thoughts? I think the music's working and my camera's working. The storm passed, so the technical issues, of course, thanks for the live stream audience has stuck around, but you will see edited versions of this come out soon. Just keep an eye on www.njrevolutionradio.com. But, we work on 5G here, so when a cloud passes, we kind of, and that's what happened. But hey, I made it in time for the commercials and to ask for money, so that's good. Anything else, Christian, before we go?
I think that's it, Brian. Thanks again. I think this was a fun talk. Yeah, I mean, please donate. Please donate to Revolution Radio. Please tell people about Revolution Radio. Share us on social media and comment on Facebook, comment on YouTube. We want to be interactive. We want to be able to interact with you, to riff on the comments you're making. Ask us questions. We want to have a good relationship with our fans.
There you go. And so I think we may wrap up a little smoother than what we started out with. I did just come back from a journey. We were in New Jersey last week at the Olive Press Eatery, and that video will be coming up soon. I'm back to the studio. We get to some editing and writing and things, but it's just even during that I felt rusty, so back and forth. And thanks for your contributions. They make things easier because they give me better tools to work with. They give me a little more money to pay our wonderful staff who keeps an eye on our network. So it really does mean a lot. You can donate again, www.njrevolutionradio.com. Go to the editorial board page. If you become an editorial board member in the next couple of weeks, we're going to send you a light ring, 8-inch light ring. And I got a Facebook chat going about an event. And that's the first step. If you organize with me before, or if you organize kind of on the left, there's always some kind of chat, either WhatsApp or, we like Google groups and things like that. So when the communications start, that's really the start of planning an event. That's where we're at right now. We'll be on the East Coast. We ain't got the budget to fly yet. But maybe you'll change that. So we will see you in the next couple of months live somewhere on the East Coast. So save, the month of late August. Just make sure you don't schedule anything. Maybe take off halfway through August and into late September. Give us some time. Don't go to work at all because you want to be there and you may have to travel. All right. And I know all of our fans are willing to do that. Our events are few and far between. Right, Chris?
Yeah. And they're fun to come out. We had good time. Used to have the coffee hat. Again, had a great time at Olive Press. Eat great food, great things, great time.
It doesn't get any better than hanging out with some comrades over food, man. Like I said, we want to dance to this revolution. We're going to eat to this revolution. We should have some fun. So please support us. One more time, the website, www.njrevolutionradio.com. Until next week, this is Brian Powers, and I want to remind everybody that the police can quit their jobs. Peace.
car, handcuffed, and that's what happened last night.
The police kicked in the door, shot him twice in the chest, and he died.
Before you knew it, we had 500 families. We had over 100 volunteers calling us. We were on the phone constantly.
And I can't get, and I got one police department telling me they don't know who's in charge. I got another police department here. Everybody's got a gun, and nobody knows who's in charge. Can anybody figure out who's in charge yet? Is there anybody in charge here? Any police officer in charge? Are you in charge? I can't find anybody in charge. That's the problem.